Hey guys, Kamen here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the LVUR14 Kamen Rider Paradox from Kamen Rider Ex-Aid. This is a figure of Kamen Rider Paradox that can switch between his Puzzle Gamer and Fighter Gamer forms. So, let's get started.
Perfect puzzle. What's the next stage? Duel up! Yes, the glory in the chain. Perfect puzzle.
To start off, we'll look at Kamen Rider Paradox Puzzle Gamer level 50, which is his default form according to the show. So looking at him, you can see that he has a very different look from the other riders. Starting from the head, you can see his face, which has this blue cowlick going down over these round goggles with yellow eyes. You also see that your hair around the cowlick is kind of slicked back. He also has this kind of gold turtleneck-like collar going in front of his chin. Going down to the body, you can see the chest, which has this completely gold chest piece. And on the inside you can see this design which has these lines running through it, as well as a background of puzzle pieces. Has these big, thick blue and gold shoulders. Going down to the body, you can see that it is mainly black, with this silver pixelated design running through it. He has these blue arms with gold wristbands, a rather generic looking gold belt since he doesn't use a gamer driver. You also see the Gotcha gear dual in the gear holder on the side. Going down to the legs, you can see that they are the same design as the lower legs for most of the other riders, just stamped in black and gold. And the design is also the same for the arms, just that they are entirely blue, instead of having a color and then a different color for the armor on the arms. Flip out into the back, you can see some of the elements of his other form, which is accurate to the series. You also see this big gold dial, which is meant to mimic the dial on the Gotcha gear dual. This can be rotated, and it stops at 2 points, both when rotated 180 degrees. Articulation-wise, you can actually turn and tilt the head on this ball joint, which basically does confirm that this is supposed to be a collar, though it's a little bit weird since in the show this piece is actually attached to the helmet rather than to the body, so the collar somehow moves with his head rather than staying attached to the torso. Then you have the shoulders, which are a little bit limited by the shoulder pieces, but that is part of the design. That being said, they are on these swivel joints, so that you can at least raise the arms up this much, and they can still be rotated around, and you get a little bit more out of them when the arms are tilted in different ways. You also got single jointed elbow, bicep swivel, wrist swivel, and 2 finger joints. It has waist rotation. Legs go forward and back, in and out. Have a thigh swivel rather, and have a double joint at the knee, though that's actually only because these pieces are reused from the other rider figures who had these double joints in these to make them compatible with the level 1 body. So in this case it's just a leftover. And then ball joint ankles. And so for this form there isn't too much you can do. And he doesn't really have anything in terms of weapons, since his power in the show is basically revolved around manipulating items that show up when the rider's fighting, called energy items, that help give him different powers. So with that in mind, next we can change him to his other form.
Knockout fighter! The strongest fist! Round 1. Rocket fire! Duel up! Explosion hit! Knockout fighter!
to transform Kamen Rider Paradox, you start by taking the figure and rotating the head around 180 degrees, so that this head is now facing forward, or this face rather. You're going to take the dial on the back and rotate it around 180 degrees, which will change the pattern on the chest. Just like so. Finally, take the shoulder pads off. Then, using the pegs on the arms, rotate them around and peg them in. Or rather, using the holes on the arms. Do the same on the other side. And here we have Kamen Rider Paradox Fighter Gamer level 50. Now as far as the transformation goes, it's a simple one yet dynamic at the same time. So, for the head you now see that his face has changed to one that has short spiky red hair, as well as pronounced eyebrows. Then for his goggles, you can see that they're more similar to the con goggles worn by Ex-Aid. They also have this piece which resembles a martial artist headband. Notice he doesn't have this collar, instead has this red chin piece, similar to a chin strap. Then you've got the chest symbol, which has now been replaced with fire. He has a general flame motif going on throughout his shoulders, which are painted in gold flames, down to the shoulder pads of Puzzle Gamer, which have now become boxing gloves, also painted with red flames. Now, of course, they also have this whole thing where they have the red half on one side and then the blue half on the other side, but that's actually entirely accurate to the show. It's also accurate that these parts are exposed, and this is what allows him to pull the Gacha Gear Dual out of the gear holder in order to execute his Kimiwaza while in this form. Now, obviously, this does enhance the articulation a little bit. It still has the same kind of articulation in the head, but because the big shoulder pads are now these boxing gloves, it does free up the shoulders to move up a little bit more. It gives him a much larger range of mobility. So in this case, you can actually get a little bit more pose ability out of the figure in this form rather than the other. Though which form you choose to display it in is, of course, all up to personal preference. Besides the two forms this figure has on its own, because of the holes throughout the body, it is also compatible with the support gamers, so you can make forms that are not possible in the show. So we'll take a look at these, starting with the first one that I've made, which is Paradox Robot Fighter Gamer. This one actually looks pretty good, since you've got the round red, and the faceplate actually matches up pretty well, especially with how the forehead piece here actually goes and kind of lines up pretty well with the headband. And you also have the little mixing of the robot arm from the the Robot Gamer form, as well as one of the boxing gloves on the other hand. Next we have Paradox Beat Puzzle Gamer. And one of the unfortunate things about this figure is that if you want to make any kind of combination that uses the Puzzle Gamer form as a base, you unfortunately can't use the Puzzle Gamer shoulder pads, since they actually can't be attached, since they would, well, basically because they're kind of blocked off by basically the harness piece and the shoulder pads of the other gamers. But you can still see the blue arms, as well as part of the Puzzle Gamer face in this form. Next we have Paradox Combat Fighter Gamer. Now this is a little bit of an awkward one, because while I do feel like the Fighter Gamer face is the only one of the two that would really work for this specific face mask, since a lot of it going on, and part of getting it on there correctly is having an exposed chin. The thing about it is that if you want to use the Gatling guns for this form, you'd have to remove the boxing gloves and expose the blue arms. So basically making it the opposite of the problem with the previous form. but it still looks pretty cool, and the colors do certainly complement each other. Next we have Paradox Sports Fighter Gamer. Now I actually wanted to do Sports Puzzle Gamer, but I found I actually couldn't do that because this piece here actually prevents this from attaching when it's with this face forward, because the collar blocks it from being fully attached, and it blocks the pegs from reaching the two divots here on the shoulders. And finally we have Paradox Hunter Puzzle Gamer. Now unfortunately this was the most of the armor that I was able to get onto the figure, because unfortunately the combination of the dial and the fact that the wing piece for the Hunter Gamer doesn't have any kind of a joint in it for the pegs on the hips meant I wasn't able to get the pegs on the shoulders in, which basically just prevented the whole thing from being able to properly go on. So I was only able to get the chest, arms, and leg pieces on, but still is a pretty good looking form, and the fact that it has shoulder pieces of its own kind of makes up for the fact that you can't use the proper shoulder pieces on any combination forms. In this case you can still see the main parts of his body, and you can quite clearly see the face coming through here. And there we go. Overall, compared to the previous release, Genmu Zombie Gamer, I think that Kamen Rider Paradox works a lot better as a standalone figure, and is one of the best self-contained figures in the Level Up Rider series. And that's mostly contributed to how the figure works in relation to the on-screen counterpart, in that what you see here is completely accurate to what you see in the show. All the different steps, all of the different details, and even the fact that he has two faces, one on each side of the helmet, is completely replicated from the show, including even the dial on the back. It is designed to work in the same way, and it's almost as if the suit on the show and the two forms were designed to be turned into an action figure, which I think is actually pretty interesting compared to other rider suits. And so, with that in mind, you also get the added bonus of being able to create forms that are not possible in the show by adding on the other gamers, and I think that works a little bit better here than with Genmu Zombie Gamer, because he doesn't have as much of the clutter as Zombie Gamer, since it does reuse kind of some of those same base limbs to make the parts go in pretty cleanly. With all that in mind, if you're a fan of Kamen Rider Paradox, I can definitely recommend picking this up. Next time, I'll be opening up a box of Yokai Metal Dream 05 packs. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and/or comment, and subscribe to keep up with my latest videos. And for now, this is Karo50, writing off.